Alright, hello everybody. Here's what we've got going on today. We are going to mix some pH balanced water. This is water straight out of the tap. Now I happen to know that my tap water runs about 7 to 7.5. So we're just going to take a little bit of this out. Okay, so that's more than I need. So that's about all you need. Now I use a meter. There's a reason. It's much easier. But if you're not doing this all the time, the expense of a meter may not be worth it. So there it is. That's my water pH right there. Hopefully you can see that on the video. It's come about 7.8. Okay, so that's 7.8. And I know it takes about 25 drops to bring down a gallon of pH down. There's pH up and pH down. It's all going to depend on what your basic water is at your house, okay? So those are what you need. This comes in a kit. And the kit will come with testing solutions. So you do not have to buy a meter to pH balance the water. One of the reasons I pH balance the water, especially with my rooting water, is the environment that the trees or plants that you're doing are going to like is going to promote more and faster growth. So all the water that you see here is pH balanced. And that's what you want. You want nice pH balanced water, you get a better growth, you get a better success ratio. So when you're doing propagation of twigs, especially if you're doing just a water soak method initially, that pH balance was really important. You can do without it, but if your pH is way off, you're probably not going to propagate your plants. So pH is important. And again, these kits that come with all this stuff right here, you can get them just about anywhere online. Just put pH balance kit and it's going to come up at all your favorite shopping places. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is test this water manually so you can see what it looks like. So you put a little bit of water in there. It's actually quite a bit. It's going to take quite a few drops. And then you're just going to drop this in until, can you see that okay? Yeah, there you go. So we're going to put the drops in until the water color changes. Alright, I'm going to mix that up a little bit and see how dark green that is. It's a real green color. You start comparing that on the chart and guess what you get to? It's between 7 and 8. Right there, so you know you're right in that 7-8 range. It's too high and you want to drop that pH down. You can put the pH balance drops in it and you'll watch it change colors. 2 drops change that to the complete other spectrum. Now we're down in the below 4. See, it's even darker than the 4 range. So that's how quickly you can change your pH. Alright, so we don't want to put that back in. But I know that for a gallon of this, to get down that 6.5 range, which is what I have here, I'm going to need 25 drops. So you get right around 25 drops. Put that lid back on. And now all the complications of pH adjustment are finished. So there you go. Let's see what we read now. Oh, we're not getting in the water. There we go. And we're running about, a little high. I must put a few drops or a few shallow drops in there. So we'll put a couple more. Or the pH might be a little higher today than usual. Usually it's around 7. We got a little bit of room. You want to be really gentle with this because you can go the other direction really quick. That's why I use a dropper. And 5 drops is usually about 1/4 of a point. See, we're not getting in the water because I took the water out. And there we go. I don't know if you can see that. Get this over here near the camera. You can see we're right at the 6.3. So hopefully you can read that. So we're at the 6.3. This is good rooting water now. And that is how you pH balance. So the trick is the dropper will come with this kit. The base up, base down. And you're going to have to figure out where your water is. And what I do is I put 5 drops in and see how much it drops it. And then you can just scale it up from there. Or down, whatever you need to do. So we've just created pH balanced water. The next thing I do, and this is for rooting water. I'll get that pH balance out of there. A little bit of rinse. Now this is fruit tree rooting water, and this is going to be the really basic stuff. So we have another product here called Super Thrive. Okay. And we are not going to use this to the recommended amount. I'm only going to put a couple drops in because we don't want to really fertilize these plants, but we do want to give them something to thrive with. So we're going to take that, and I am going to put 5 drops in. There you go. Just a few drops, a little bit of vitamins in the water, and I happen to know that this water has a great mineral balance off our faucets. If you're in the city, this is important. Do not use your tap water. Ever. I wouldn't even water my plants with it. I would buy them bottled water. But you can do it, but I would never do it to an immature plant. So if you're trying to clone these trees, like this one here is in the water soak, it's getting ready to plant. You can see little root nubs starting to come out all around the bottom slice of that node. And this is time to plant this baby. She's ready to go in the water, or she's ready to go in the pot. And with figs, we've talked about this before. It needs a little lighter soil. But back to our fruit tree rooting water. So we've got our Super Thrive in there, just a couple of drops. I've got my pH balanced to about 6.3 or 4, whatever it was. It was in the right range. And the reason I'm using 6 to 6.5 is all the trees I'm growing are between the 6 and 7.5 range on pH. So I came right down near the lower end that they could all tolerate. Okay, and that's why this mixes this. Everything I'm growing will be happy in that pH. Okay, now you might end up growing a fruit tree or a plant that likes a higher pH. So you're going to make another jug, and you're going to label what it's for and what your mix is. See, my mix is completely laid out on there. That way, when it's time to do that, I don't have to look it up. It's just right on an old spring water jug here from the local grocery store, and you've got all your measurements. Now, when you first plant them, we've got our, this is my favorite. A lot of people like another product called Clone X. Okay, so there's Root Tech here. And all I do is I take a little bit of this gel, right, get a nice amount, about, like that, get that gel on there, and then you're going to mix that into the water, and it's going to fall to the bottom. It takes a little while to dissolve. So we're going to shake it up. We're going to let it dissolve while we're waiting to use this water. And that is it. So just remember to shake this up, because I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but I can see a couple little clumps of the rooting gel under there. Always mix that, get that Super Thrive out of your dropper. It just has a tendency to clog things up. It's very, very potent, and it works. It's a little expensive, but a jar this size will last some people a lifetime. They come in different sizes. You can get a little tiny one for a few bucks, and 500 gallons this little one does. So it's 1/4 teaspoon per gallon right off the top. And like I said, we're using 5 drops in a gallon, a little bit under that teaspoon, but that's all you need. So here we go. Rooting water set up for the trees that I own at 6 to 6.5. I put the formula right here. The reason I don't put the rooting hormone on there is I don't always use it initially. Like, this is just standard water that I'm going to water the plants after they're planted with. They've been coated with hormones. They got hormones, and they were soaking in hormone infused water. So you don't really need to do that. So there you go. There's your pH balanced water. Takes a few minutes of your time, and if you're only doing 1 or 2, maybe 3 trees at a time, that'll last you a little while. But once you know your formula for your water, you're real good. If you're buying city water, or if you're using city water, or you're buying bottled water, you're going to want to check that pH each time. There are some companies that sell pH balanced water. I'm not sure what those ranges are, but you could look into that too. So have a great day and good luck, and let's get planting some trees.